I'll take this question to Imam Zayed. Imam Zayed, what are the positive aspects of the new Muslim generation that you see?
In America.
Absolutely, or actually around the world. So this new generation of Muslims is exposed to things that the previous generation never was. For example, globalization, the internet, information. People have access to information like never before. So what do you think that's produced?
Well, the most positive aspect that I can speak of is that they're so open-minded. That's number one. And number two, their information, their sources of information are so versatile and at their fingertips. So the limitations that we had even as adults to try to gain Islamic knowledge or try to get into the history and the pride of our Islamic heritage, they actually can get it a click by clicking an internet link, like it's a click away. That open-mindedness in the right path that is Islam and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is so close to the nature of the human mind, when you put that access to knowledge next to it, it's very easy to strengthen your iman and have your faith. So when the young generation is exposed to the right Muslim environment and they actually start to pursue their religion and their identity as Muslims, it's now much easier with that open universe of knowledge to them.
So what do you think of the aspect of the ability to question? The importance of questioning everything that's in their life. I think it's unprecedented the amount of questioning this new generation does. Do you think that's a positive thing?
I think it's a positive thing, but that gives us also the responsibility from the other side to be knowledgeable ourselves. When we supply them with the knowledge, we should know our deen from every angle and so extensively before we even attempt to teach our children. But our children definitely will question, definitely will tackle every issue from every corner, and they look in, and that is the main thing that is happening right now that I see very predominantly, is that they're looking now for Islam for answers. And Islam has all the answers because it's not our religion or what we believe in. It is the religion of the creator of the universe, and it's there. I hope that as adults we will be able to have the knowledge to satisfy them with what is in Islam already for their answers.
I have an observation. Whenever we talk about parents and children in an Islamic context, we have a lot of information about how children should be toward the parents. There's so much. You shouldn't even say oof, you should be respectful, you should be obedient, but very little information on how parents should be to the children. So for example, in my knowledge, there's a saying of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. The saying is, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the first 7 years or so of your child's life, love them. Love them like anything. The second 7 years, train them, educate them, manners. The third, befriend them, make them your friends. This is invaluable advice that it's universal, it transcends time. I think the main trouble parents have is with the third phase, to make their children friends. Because in order to do that, you have to treat your child like an adult. I want your observation and your perspective on this.
I think it's actually this is a very good observation of the quotation of Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anh, because as you said, there's a lot of obligations from the children to the parents, but about the parents to the children. A part of being a role model, it's not just sitting examples and telling people what's right and what's wrong. It's actually to try to live that example and be that example, so you're the first source of knowledge or manners for your children. One of the greatest things that children love, and this is a human thing, is that when you treat them like adults, when you show them respect and actually consult them with their opinions as far as certain manners and try to prospect into their minds, that is actually one of the easiest way to get to them and access them and have them accept you and accept your knowledge. Especially in our country here, one of the biggest problems, aside from that we are in a predominantly environment that is not Islamic, is that some children teach themselves how to be hypocrites. They have an American face in the public school, and they have another face in the life here. And if you do not show the respect enough and the openness and the tolerance enough for your children, especially at the time when they're growing, before they become teenagers, that is actually an easy way to lose them, because once they have their economic freedom, they can choose which life, of the dual lives that they live. And most of the time, if they don't have Islamic foundation and access to Islamic knowledge and good Muslims by the time, they choose the easy way out, which is, you know, whatever that is available out there.
Imam Zayed, on that, the question always comes up, should you send your children to a regular public school or a faith-based school? So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, actually,
thank you for the call.
Actually, I think it's not even a matter of choice. If you are able to send your children to an Islamic school where they learn the Islamic studies and they have some access to learning the Arabic language, which, by, you know, it's the only access that I can open my Quran and read, and the hadith of Muhammad ﷺ, there's no choice. It is a must that you can do that. If for financial reasons or whatever reasons you cannot, a parent, whether the father or the mother, should assign at least an hour a day to try to teach them the basics of Islam, the basics of the deen, some history of Islam, and it's very beneficial to them to learn. One of the best things to learn is to attempt to teach.
So you would say preferably you would advise to send your children to an Islamic
Absolutely.
environment.
10 years ago, there weren't almost any Islamic schools around. Now, in New Jersey, where I live, probably there's 3 Islamic schools, and each one is better than the other one academically, on top of Arabic and Islamic studies. The school that I serve on the board to as a volunteer, Dar al-Arqam School in South River in New Jersey, we have pre-K students who are not from native Arabic parents that recite the Quran better than 90% of the people that I know. And inshallah they speak Arabic and all that. And more importantly, the manners and the discipline and the character. I can take that now 15 years from now and put them in any learning environment for any academic or material science, and they would excel because they have the character first.
Muhammad Uzair jo the youth who this show is actually about, let's answer his question. His question was, as a young man, where do I go to learn about Islam?
Well, even in English language right now, the internet is a tremendous source. There's islamway.com, islamonline.com. Not only that, you can have access to all the lectures and the lessons of some of the greatest scholars on the face of earth, but actually now they're building an English library that actually you can access the same thing in the English language. You can put a keyword of any subject that you want, and actually on Google you can find the Arabic text that belongs to it. You need to be a little bit careful which source you're reading from, but at least everything is there for the learning, and you don't even have to find a special website or a special scholar that specializes in a certain area. Just put a thread or the word of interest that you're looking for and you want to educate yourself about, and it's right there in Google. It's one of the miracles of the internet, the good side of the internet, I would say.
Well, it takes a lot of courage to come out and ask these honest questions, so thank you. Let's get some answers. The question was, so how does this young man go about learning about his religion? He is in an environment where he doesn't get a lot of religious exposure. So where does he start?
The easiest thing, and there's alhamdulillah, with the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's a lot of mosques around that weren't even there 10 years ago. He should get to a good mosque where there's a good imam, like our Imam Mufti Abdurrahman here, and try to stick to the Jama'ah as much as possible. Pray in Jama'ah, ask when they're going to be lectures, when they're going to be bayan, when they're going to be lessons, and try to learn and make it on a daily practice. Sticking to the Jama'ah for the children and the adults is the best way to strengthen the iman in the heart and actually learn and accept knowledge on a daily basis.
So let me ask you a practical question.
Sure.
So you have a young son, for example, and he wants to learn about Islam. Would you let him go to any mosque to learn? So for example, just like you put your son in an educational institution, you figure out, are the teachers good? Is there quality? Are they teaching the right values? Aren't you going to scrutinize the mosque in the same way?
Well, actually, in my special case, I take my son whenever I go to pray, if the school is off. So he comes to me, Aisha prayers, when I make khutbah, when I give lessons, he's with me all the time. And naturally, the mosques that I go to are the mosques that I would actually hope that my son will go with me. And it gets with the repetition, with the environment, it becomes their second nature. Sometimes I think I overslept one time and I almost missed Isha, and the one who saved me from sleeping and missing Isha is my son, because he's used every day. He woke me up and said, well, there's only 15 minutes, we need to go. And he woke me and took me there. So if the initiative is coming from the child himself who just asked the question, this is a great thing, and I commend him for it, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him and guide him for it. The nearest mosque that can provide that kind of knowledge, with a good imam that speaks his language and sticks with the brothers, the jama'ah is always the main thing in Islam. And Allah la yajma'u ummati illa ala huda. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never gather my nation upon anything but guidance. So whenever there's jama'ah, stick to the jama'ah, inshallah, it will be the best for you.